Welcome, this is the one and only Sugi Tech, and thanks for joining me today on my Photoshop tutorial how to make a simple YouTube thumbnail. And according to YouTube, 90% of the videos that have thumbnail are more likely to perform better than the videos that don't have a thumbnail. So thumbnails go really a long way. Not only the two videos that appear on searches that have both custom thumbnails, the video that has a clearer reading text and perhaps more attractive design is more likely to get clicked than the one that doesn't have one. So let's get started. So we're going to go to top bar, we're going to choose file, we're going to choose new, and we have the width and the height. These are the most important things. Leave the others as they are. You can name the untitled one to YouTube thumbnail. And we have 190/20 and 1080 on these. These are the official sizes. There's the one that is, I think it's 1280 and 720, because those are the official resolutions. So if you have a thing that's like width 900 and height 600, it's going to be disproportioned when you upload it as a thumbnail. There will be black borders on the sides or on the top, whatever, it's the wrong size, that will happen. Also, it's really important to use high quality images and high resolution images. They will look better because videos get shared on a forum where they're embedded, and then the screens may be bigger than they are in the YouTube search, or they may be in YouTube gaming where the thumbnails are also large and huge. So for that reason, it's always wise to use very big sizes. And we have the new here. We have the new where here's the template. So I'm going to use an image that I already downloaded. This is the Dumbo. I think this is the mascot for the Amazon Japan. And we're going to select this area by Control A. You can also use the rectangular tool here to select it, and then we're going to of course Control C to copy it, and then we go back to the YouTube thumbnail here, and we're going to paste it by Control V. And here we have the thumbnail that we're going to use, and this is a very high quality image. Maybe not perhaps the most absolute HQ, but just pretty good, because this is not usually the size that people will see it as. It will be a bit smaller. And if you're uploading to this template a bigger picture, let's say it would be this large, okay? It is important to, when you upload an image that is kind of like a bigger than the thumbnail, you don't want to like change it from here like this. This will like reduce the quality. So what you have to do is you go to one of the points and you hold shift and drag it from here. This will not make the image lose quality. But we're gonna like reduce, we're gonna go back in history. History tool is really useful, guys. So we're gonna zoom in back 66.7%. That's pretty good. So alternatively, not alternatively, in some cases you will see what I'm saying. In all cases you will see the timestamps on the video, so it's around this area, okay? So it's a bit bigger than this actually. But around this area you don't want to have any text, because the timer stamp on YouTube will be top of it. So don't add text to this area. And if we have like a picture, as we can see, we don't want any text over this Dumbo creature over here. We want the text to be here, because that's where the free space is. But if this area is filled in your specific thumbnail that you have chosen, you might want to swap the area by going to edit, to transform, flip horizontal. So you don't have to create the text area to here where the timestamp is, so you can freely do the text over here, which is pretty good. But this is alternative. You can do it if you want to. It's really up in the air. And let's now go into the most important point. Most of the thumbnails are nothing special, okay? Usually they just have text. And you can create, we're gonna remove this because that's not gonna happen. We're gonna delete the layer 2. We're gonna merge the layer 1 to the background. This is alternative, you don't have to do it. So you right click the layer 1 and then you're just gonna click merge down, and here we go, voila, you got a background. And you can right click the background to make it a layer, because background has some limitations what you can do to it. So let's just make it a layer. Once again, alternative, but just not what I do. So we're gonna create a new layer by Control Shift N, And we're gonna choose the rectangular tool from here, and we're gonna create, well, let's just not actually do that yet. We're gonna choose the type tool, and we're gonna select an area where we want to have the text. And we can create just a Tambo photography. This is gonna be our text. And as you can see, we have this dark blue, dark teal type of thing. It's not very readable due to the background. So what we want to do is we're gonna change it to black. And as you can see, the black is much more readable here than the one that the version that we had just a minute ago. So let's go back it again. See the difference? I'm gonna change the text back to black. Here we go. Much more readable. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the same trick here. We're gonna choose the type tool, the select tool, and we're gonna just drag the text to be a bit bigger. The bigger the text, the better it is to read because it's bigger. And this is a really important, of course, because if you want to use double text, some people use it. We're gonna create a new text. I'm gonna use let's use as part 1 here, okay? And some people use a subtitle, and this is really, sometimes they use it in a series that they're making. Sometimes the subtitle may have a different color to this. We can probably, in this instance, the white would be the best. And in some cases, you might be using thumbnails that are very, very bright, okay? And that means that white text or black text won't appear really well on the thumbnail. So this is a simple trick that I abuse a lot. So we're going to create a new layer. Once again, Ctrl-Shift-N. And we're going to select the rectangular tool. We're going to drag a thing from here in top of this text. Okay? And then we're going to choose the color. I'm going to choose the color from the main source of the thing, which is the color of the Dumbo. So we're gonna just pick it from here. You can choose anything you want. And we're gonna choose the brush tool. We're gonna make the brush tool a bit bigger. There's many ways to color this thing. And then we don't release the selection yet. And here we have a background to this. We can duplicate it. Well, let's just not duplicate, just create a new layer again. And then we're going to create another box to the subtitle. And we can use a different color for this one if we want. We can use the same color. Actually, the same color doesn't look good. Maybe you can use a darker color. Maybe that will look better. And we're going to, it's a bit misproportionate right here. We're going to resize the part 1 to something like this size. And here we have a pretty cool thumbnail now. And you can, of course, change the sizes right now, or you can change the colors and try it out how it looks with black. Maybe actually the black looks pretty well on both of the parts. And that's how you pretty much do a simple thing. And just adding a color over a color does a pretty good job. Alternatively, we can go back to the layer 1 where we have this big color thing, color box. And we go to the opacity bar here, and we can drag it down, and we can make it more transparent if we want to do that. That also looks really cool. It's something that looks pretty cool on black, so I'm going to show it to you. We're going to go layer 1, and we're going to layer style, color overlay. We're going to change it to black, and we're going to change the text to white. There's also an easier way to make it black, just, And here you can see it looks pretty good as transparent. It looks also good on maximum opacity, but the transparency can be a thing. Finally, usually some people like borders. I'm a big fan of those, so we're gonna create a new layer, Ctrl-Shift, and once again, this has to be the top layer on this thing. This is really important. This will be the top, and we're gonna name the layer by just double-click. So we're gonna name it borders. And we're gonna use Ctrl-A to select the area. Then we go to Edit, Stroke, and we have a stroke bar here. And usually use outside or center. I'm gonna have in a such a huge, this of course the pixel width will be very important depending on how big is your picture. So on this big size, I think gonna use 8, and we're gonna use black, and then we're gonna click OK, and then we're just gonna Control D, which is the deselect, and we can see there's a bit of a border here. As we can see, that's kind of small, so we're gonna go back to that same thing we were just a minute ago and change it to 20, and now we have a border to the actually even this doesn't look very good, maybe like 35. Okay, this is a more like a precise border. And as for what goes to the fonts are really important. Don't use Comic Sans. Comic Sans is the ultimate devil's work. Don't use Comic Sans. Look at how horrible this looks. I'm gonna change the size from here. This is horrible. I forbid you to use Comic Sans as a font. Never use this. It's horrible. Absolutely disgusting. There is a website called dafont.com. I put it in the description down below, where you can get pretty good fonts that are, you know, good. Custom fonts go really a long way. A lot of the default ones are pretty bad. One that I like that is default is called Impact. It's called Impact, and this is a pretty good font. Out of the normal ones, this is a font that's rather good if you want to use default fonts. But getting custom fonts, I do a lot. I think there's a lot of good fonts in Dafont if you search around. Same goes for images. You want to have quality images as you want to have quality fonts. And after this, pretty much the thumbnail is done. You can go back to the layer where we have the down bow, and we can go to image, adjustments, hue and saturation. And here we can change the color of it. If we want to kind of like play around, you kind of want like this is usually, in this instance we don't want to use it. You can use the saturation to make it black and white. So you want the fonts to stand out more if they're colored, or the boxes, they stand out more if it's black and white. Or you can use saturation a lot. Well, this looks awful, don't do that. But you can add more color to it by adjusting saturation, or you can just pure lightness, or by adding more light or adding more darkness to it, and it will highlight more of the text by doing these tricks. But we're not going to do that because this looks pretty perfect aside from the fonts that I just changed. So I would just go bit back in that. We're going to go bit back in that history to this, and this is pretty much finished product. We can of course adjust the boxes here to match our things. And this is it in a nutshell. Thanks for watching this video. If you have suggestions what kind of things you would like to learn with Photoshop, you can leave them in the comments below. And a good place to find custom thumbnails is there's already a lot of templates made, and there's a thumbthems.com, which I'll also put in the description, where you can find really cool thumbnail templates that you can use on your videos that are really, really good. If you're not really artistic or doesn't know how to do it, it's really easy to edit the template, but there might be some very complex layer situation around here though with some of those templates. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, give it a like, and as I said, comments on the comments section below. Cheers. I will see you next time.